Adrian, how are you?
Very good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a really honor.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do today is kind of share your story because I know a lot of people might be like me, and they probably follow the cigar culture on Instagram, but it's always nice to know the people behind different Instagram accounts. For those of us who don't know, and nice conversation these days with everybody being stuck at home or not able to go into the stores like they're used to because of COVID. It's kind of nice to kind of break up the day. So uh, I'm enjoying having these nice casual conversations with people like you and letting other people kind of join in because it's a nice educational but conversational kind of way to kind of break up the day and kind of end the week.
100% agree with you. These days everybody's stuck in home, but it's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not the end of the world. It's we need to keep going and enjoying great cigars.
Yeah, definitely. So I think where I want to start is, me and you have been talking in the last week because I'm working on the story for tobacco business, and you gave me a nice kind of overview of your entire career and all that. So um, what stood out to me was when you talked about the education part of the industry, because I think that's a really important part. But I think people get confused sometimes as to what is education in the cigar industry, because to some people it's like webinar and very formal and this is how you sell a cigar and something like that. But to me, that's not what education is always about in this industry. It's a little bit open. It's like getting to know the cigar growing process, getting to know how a cigar is made, the different parts of the cigar, understanding and going deeper. So to you, like, just how do you define education, especially in the cigar world?
Uh, I think everything start. My point of view in this, though, towards education, everything starts from the consumers, then the retailers. You need to involve everybody together to have a great explanation. For example, if I go to a shop and pick a cigar, most of the time, like maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, they just grab a cigar they like and they just light it up and enjoy it. Nowadays, I see more questions about before the purchase. Where they from? What manufacturer? And they throw names and they know who exactly, and that's really good about it right now. Many companies are right now doing a great, great job in terms of education to try to educate those consumers that can to try their cigars in blocking what's coming from Dominican or Nicaraguan. They're just trying to give in their story and the story behind the blend and all that kind of stuff. So um, what I'm seeing in here is that it's not ending. It's just the beginning of educate consumers and retailers to how to pitch the cigar they're trying to sell, or the cigars, or in plural. Because you have many cigars, and you have a lot of cigars coming from the same factory, and they don't want to get the idea. I mean, brands. I'm assuming that they don't want to get in the idea it's the same cigar because it comes from the same factory. No, it's different blends, of course. But I think more education doesn't hurt for consumers and retailers, and actually more open with retailers because they want this feedback from knowledge from every cigar. It's not because the cigar is hot and it's good. Go a little bit more deeper in the explanation about the cigar and the blending and the story behind. Because end of the day, we selling stories.
Yeah, and you were telling me when we were talking the other day about, walking into a humidor with a customer and a customer saying, this cigar is a good cigar. And you said, what makes it a good cigar? And they say, oh, because it costs $45. You know, there's still a lot of that going on where I think some, uh, depending on how long you smoke cigars, you kind of do look at price point. You think, wow, this is a $90 cigar. It has to be good. But that's not necessarily the case. I wish we could do more blind tasting where you take off the band and you just say, try this cigar and try this cigar. Give them a $5 cigar, give them a
Sure.
$90 cigar, and see which one stands out to them without them knowing. Because sometimes it's just like any other product. Sometimes it feels like you're paying for the label and the
Sure.
brand more so than what you're actually getting.
Sure. I think it's a misconception about a super high-end cigar in low cost cigars. I can enjoy the low cost cigars and a really max rare. I call it rare. I don't call it expensive. I call it rare cigars. I think it's a proper way to respect the angle of sale. But I remember, actually, I think I shared that story with you when I was in retail. One of my experiences, that a guy come into the humidor and he said, let me check. Oh, I love this $90 cigar. It must be the best that you have here. And I just explain why. Because it's super limited, not because it's super good. It's just limited stuff. Um, but also we have these 50, 45, and 20. And actually, he take the $15 cigar. So yes, we are in a market that we need to, for example, if I own a shop, we need to sell cigars, but actually more clarity, more veracity, you transparent with the consumer, it give you more power, I believe.
Do you think we, as an industry, need to? I always think about ratings because depending on there's, people always look at ratings, like what rating did this cigar get? Oh, it must be good, or this magazine rated this, or this media personality rated this cigar this, rating. Do you think ratings
Right.
really matter these days, or is it kind of an old school kind of mentality again, um, of the whole like 92, 93 cigar? Because I never know what that means personally, so they don't really have much weight with me personally, but I know for some people they do.
If I let's if I don't recall, everything started with the wine rating, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but right now, nowadays, man, to be honest with you, um, yes, it's important to have some select group of people to do some ratings on some cigars. But I strongly believe, I'm thinking now, putting my hat of the retailer and consumer. Uh, it's a lot of cigars out there that they don't rate and they're super good and they selling really good. Like everybody, they have it in the humidor. So and then I'll be rating. So it's a 50-50 thing. I think it's an entertaining thing for the ratings, especially end of the year when everybody has the cigar of the year, the top 10, the top 25. That's good. It helps a lot because a lot of consumers driving to those ratings. So it's
Right.
actually good. But from my standpoint of view is, if you ask me, my personal opinion, what is a rating 94 from 95? I believe this is the cigar that sell the most, and everybody has it, and everybody looking for it, and it's super back order because everybody gravitating to that cigar. So if you ask me, that's the higher rating cigar in the market.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with retail, because I don't know if everybody knows that part of your story, but having that retail background obviously gives you a completely different foundation and understanding of the industry than just being a consumer or just working the independent broker side of it. So just tell us a little bit about how you got into retail and kind of some of your experiences with retail.
So I started working in retail in Nat Sherman in New York City, in the townhouse. Great experience there. I work along with a group of select people, tobacconists. Really magical times. Everybody from pipes, from pipe products, from humidors, accessories, cigar guys, tobacco. It was a perfect combination to learn retail, especially with meeting people from around the world. Um, it's not just the locals from New York City. It's just a lot of people. It's a tourist area. It's on 42nd Street. It was in 42nd Street in the heart of New York. And man, that experience to able to meet people from around the world, looking for a great experience in terms of cigars, it was magical and give me the opportunity to see uh, not only for what we smokers as Americans here, But other countries, what they heard from us or what they're looking for um, in the market. So it gave me a lot of feedback, and I learned a lot, and I'm still learning. But it gave me it's a great opportunity to work with those folks over there. I mean, big shout out to them. Michael Herlux was a great guy, great mentor, and the rest of the guys, Juan, you name it. It was a select group of tobacconists. Like people used to go over there and uh, smoke a cigar and see us working. It was that magical. It was super. So it was a great experience there. I had a tendency to work in like I learned how to do tasting company tastings, internet orders when there was by that time. It was good building clientele. It was super. It was not a waste to work for 4 years over there.
When you look at everything that's happened this year, especially with Nat Sherman, as somebody who's worked there, you work with her clocks, you work with the family to some degree. I mean, either continuing their legacy, what they started. What do you think we should remember? How should we remember Nat Sherman? Because I know that there's a lot going on, and for some people it's the cigars, for some other people it's the townhouse. So how would you, I guess I should ask, remember Nat Sherman, and how would you tell us outsiders to just how we should remember it going forward?
I think you should remember just like the logo, tobacconist to the world. I mean, yeah, it was so great. The whole family, getting to know the Mr. Sherman, the sons, the daughter. It was just magical. I think I remember doing extra mile work. Everybody who passed through the family of Nat Sherman townhouse, I believe that we should work harder. Uh, one thing that I always keep it every day that I'm working in the different territory is the ethics of works. Uh, it was immaculate. You need to commit to your things. It's really my ethics. I learned it from there. I can say that. Tobacconists to the world. That's my best example. I'm ambassador of Nat Sherman always.
And you can see that, like, now with what you do, you definitely are a good ambassador for the industry, just representing the industry and representing these different brands and just promoting the whole culture and the lifestyle. Because I don't know if people realize how different the lifestyle behind around cigars is. It's not like any other lifestyle or group. It's not like cigarette smokers. They don't really have a culture, surrounding them, which some people think they do. It's not like CBD or cannabis people. Cigars are a different world, and I feel like as a media person, you have to talk about them and deal with them in a completely different manner than you would, like I said, any other group. It's a lifestyle. It's getting people to understand how many hands touch one cigar and the process and all that kind of stuff going on.
Definitely, I can agree more with you. But taking moving forward on that, I think everybody should do that. You strongly believe in the industry. I'm a pro industry. Uh, Look, and this is a saying that I said every day when I meet new people. They ask me, so how you ended up doing what you do? And I said, man, I don't know. I don't learn anything less than this. This is a passion. This is the cigar culture. This is what we are, and we need to be ambassador of great tobacco, of course, great process, and a camaraderie. I think camaraderie and people that I know from a lot of people from all around the world because of this. It's really beautiful to feel that feeling. Um, my dad sent me to school. We went to school because of tobacco. Uh, they raised us with tobacco. I mean, like the resources from tobacco, and now I'm doing the same thing for my family now. So it's a really appreciating, uh, proud moment that I'm living now.
And talk a little bit about your family, because I know I do a lot of stories on different people in the industry, and there's always an interesting trend of people who are really invested in the industry now didn't always start off, being big cigar smokers or big they kind of, some of them have families who dealt with tobacco in different ways or cigar making, and they didn't want to be a part of it. But then they found themselves as they got older, they got into it. So just tell us a little bit about your journey, about how your family was involved in tobacco, and then what was your relationship like it before you finally got in?
So my dad is a agronomist engineer, specialized in tobacco, I would say, in genetics of the seeds of tobacco. He worked for many years for a big company, um, and but when if your dad is a baker, he has a bakery shop, and so bread and cakes is not really your thing because you see that every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I need to confess, in the beginning I wasn't paying attention to tobacco. Like, oh, I born in a silver leaf and tobacco, and I love tobacco and smoking cigars since, and I love the aroma. No, um, I learned. I think I learned the right time how to appreciate tobacco and respect tobacco. Um, and I'm gonna share a story with you. So when I was 15, um, they sent me when I do something wrong. As a young kid, you do a lot of stuff. So every punishment, like take the Nintendo out, take the tablet out, take the TV out, or nowadays I shut the Wi-Fi out for the kids, things like that. But back in the day, for me, was like you go to the farm. That was the biggest punish for me. The farm, really, and I was like, okay, you know, not like it. So one day I was really, I thought that I think that I was right, and I said, why you bring me here, man? I don't know, no. I said, tobacco is tobacco. I just tell him, like, badmouth him, tell him, tobacco is tobacco. You can grow this anywhere. And he just did this to me, and he said, like, what are you talking about? You far to know what is going on, and he don't know how to make me understand. And he mentioned these words: those who produce their varieties, sow, cultivating, harvest their tobacco, will always have good cigars. Those who are unaware of these procedures will never know what they have. And I look at him and I said, what are you trying to say? I don't know. I said, you will understand that when the time is right. But that quote always keep it in myself. So I graduated from college. I worked in the hospitality business and Nat Sherman together. And then I went to 1 year for another company in sales. And then I opened my brokerage. And now, working my brokerage, that's my main job. And I decided to launch a cigar. And for commemorate that moment that I really appreciate what takes I put it in the ring in the inside the ring on the Culture Blend number 3. I put that quote on the inside the ring. So that's a kind of he did my dad just retired as well. So it was kind of like an homage as well, thinking for appreciate things, and that quote always gonna reminding me.
Awesome. And talk about, the decision that you made to suddenly launch your own cigar brand. Because I know when we were talking a couple of days ago, you said, your first hesitation about doing it was that you're like, there's enough cigars in the market right now. I don't need to add to that. And
Yeah.
then here you are. Now you have your own cigar in the market. So, like, what was that decision? What was that turning point for you that made you say, okay, I'm ready to take that chance. I'm ready to launch my own cigar, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Timing, COVID restrictions, a lot of releases not uh, can be done because of the COVID. Uh, so my first intention on this was to release this cigar only for friends and family to entertain ourselves. But I discovered that it was a need in the market for a new limited stuff like an entertain our industry in our market. But I keep it to the download but it was out of hand when people started gravitating to the cigars and smoking the cigars, and it was it was a madness. So after that, we sold pretty much the whole thing in less than a week.
Awesome. And like, how many different blends did you go through before you settled on this one?
It was 60 different blends because I was kind of hard hit and I wanted to use the same tobacco, same. And the story on the blends, it was I got this tobacco for a few years already, and the guys from the factory that I'm working, they said, Adrian, your tobacco, you need to do something with that. And I said, man, I'm not gonna do anything. Man, tobacco has a period time which is good for manufacturing, and your tobacco is that in that peak right there. And I said, all right, cool. Not even intentional. I said, all right, surprise me. Show me where you come from. And they did it. They did 20 blends. Right there, the number 3 was on my lookout. I want to push them as well in the respectful way, in a really humble way. I trying to push into the limits because manufacturers, they blend for themselves, actually not blend for the market. So I trying to push it a little bit, and I said, man, I'm really disappointed on the come out. I don't think we're gonna work together because I don't know, man. It's really doesn't feel me. I don't feel it. Can you push yourself a little bit more? Oh, not a problem. They did another 20. Went back to DR, and I said, man, they're good, but only one is good. I need another one. And I said, what do you mean? It's very limited tobacco. You don't want to play with different tobacco, just this tobacco. I said, yeah, but it has to be with this tobacco. Different ratios, do different percentages, but do it with this tobacco. And they did another 20. I don't like it, so I keep with the number 3. And I tell them, I know the winner already. It's only one. It's going to be the number 3. And, oh, really? So, all this time I know it was the number 3. And they complain about, well, we waste a lot of tobacco for sampling, all that kind of stuff. I say, man, is this the market? I'm not going to release a cigar that they're going to say, it's a black cigar. So it was a really special, the blend number 3, the organic way, how to, the whole, it was very hard. It was very challenging to do the blend, especially with those rare tobaccos, all tobaccos. And I think it was so natural that I don't can put another name. So when they sent me the blends from the factory, was the description on the factory band was culture, blend number 1, number 2, number 3, all the way to 60. So when I picked the name, I said it has to be a very organic, a natural way. I cannot really put something else. That's what I named it, the culture blend number 3.
Awesome. And you said, because I remember you sent me samples of the number 3, which took me a little while to finally get around to smoking them. And I remember it was good because what I look for in a cigar is completely different. So I remember I told you that. I was like, I can't tell you, pick out the notes and all that kind of stuff. I just know, like, for me, I don't like cigars that kind of blow out my palate after one puff. I like a nice draw. I like those cigars that you can, sit around and have a conversation with without feeling like you're strangled, or that you just, lick the ashtray. So it was a good cigar based on those criteria for me. When you let me try those initial blend samples that you got.
Yeah, and it was really interesting in terms of blending with the manufacturer because they asked really good questions like what you want to transmit to the consumer with this cigar, what's the profile, what you're looking for, aggressive, elegant, what are you looking for? And when they asked me, I said, man, a cigar is like a friend. When you meet a guy or a girl for the first time, you want everything to run smooth, like respectful way. And then you get to the middle, you get more, I would say more trust, you get more complexity. And when you're about to end it, you're buddies, yeah, you're really close. So that's what you feel in the whole smoke. You feel three or four different transitions to know. It start really subtle, really elegant, kind of smooth, and then translate to more cedary, sweet spices. and then mellow down a little bit for more open arm in the body for strength. It's a really cool thing that they how they accomplish that. You know.
And like, when you, I know you send out samples, so like, did you send samples out to people who are uh, like me, kind of on a newer scale, who didn't really know, all the notes and stuff, or did you send them to like the advanced smokers, like your Michael Herklotz types who spend all day blending and looking at different blends to get their perspective, or was it a little bit of everybody?
I'm pretty sure that everybody would love this cigar, based on the very confident to say that, based on the blend and based on the whole experience. Pretty confident on that. But I sent it to people that really supported me on the Cigar Culture page in the beginning. I sent it to a lot of people who really want to try different things. Um, but no, I just sent it to only a few people. The rest of the people buy those cigars, and that's really amazing. You know, that's really amazing from my end to see a new thing, a new limited to people gravitated to buy it. Making for one shop, for example, in the shop that I am right now in the Cigars of Waterford, this is the fifth order. So the cigar being liked, you know.
Do you have plans to release some other cigars in the series, or are you just going to focus on the number three for a while?
The sad thing on this is I cannot release the blend number three. Uh, in 5 years, I will release again the blend number three. But right now, when it's gone, it's gone. It's an entertainment for us, for those who gravitate that. In the near future, who might know it will be another collaboration, maybe with another brand, to get our hands together and put a nice blend to the same concept to entertain our consumers. But who knows? But right now, I'm loving the whole development on the number three, and it's really a good ride.
To switch gears a little bit and talk about the cigar culture, because I'm always fascinated by people who have big followings and what they do with that following. So I like your story, what you told me a couple of days ago about how you just built up this following, but it wasn't to promote you so much as it was the whole culture and the lifestyle, and then educate, using your platform to educate people, and that's how it's probably gotten to the size that it is. And it's such a great name that it's like everybody wants to be a part of the cigar culture. It's not like they're following like a personality. So just talk about how you developed this idea for the cigar culture, and then how you define it. Like, what do you see it? Kate, who do you see it appealing to and catering to, and why do you think it's become so popular with cigar smokers around the world?
Is everything comes up with the first question, education. What you spending your time with? Uh, why and where? What kind of events are driven into the cigar community? Not only cigars. There's a lot of wine, a lot of spirits, a lot of restaurants involved, a lot of accessory companies, a lot of, our old friend told me this quote many years ago. He said, man, the cigar is a compliment of the moment. I don't wake up craving a cigar. Oh, I need to smoke a cigar right away, now, right now. No, never. When I feel to, I celebrate life every day, so I grab a cigar every day. I surrounded with many great people, so I smoke cigars with them. But the main thing was with the cigar culture to focus on the movement because back in 2007, 2008, not many people want to educate uh, their consumers, and that was missing. So I started from there to get into cigar shops and just friendly talk. And I asked simple questions about tobacco, and they open up and open up. And before you know it, it was a Friday thing. Every Friday we have a group of 20 people talking about cigars and tobacco, and then I collate to another grade and go to different shops and talk about tobacco and do many things, not to receive any money from that, just to be a great ambassador of great things. And that was the main power source for me to elevate the cigar culture platform to another scale. And then the second thing is people from around the world. I have a lot of people from Europe, you name it, South America, and even Asia follow when we discuss tobacco and things like it. It's the whole thing is really beautiful, and I really and loving the whole thing and respecting tobacco most of the part.
You know, what I like about our conversation a couple of days ago is like when we talked about how Instagram works and how you can use Instagram. You know, there's so many cigar companies that are on Instagram, but they all use it in a completely different way. You know, those that are personality driven, you'll see those people out front a little bit more, and it's about what they're doing, and then the cigars. And then there are some accounts that feel a little bit, you know, limited, and then all they do is kind of post a picture of their cigar, and that's it. So, what is the best approach? Like, if you are a company that's making cigars, do you need a person with a personality in front of that, or do you need, or is it going to work with just having a cigar and it's going to sell itself?
So to simplify the question a little bit, I'm gonna go overall, and you take what you take. I think the public needs to be heard in this. Before nowadays, I always say Instagram or Facebook doesn't sell a cigar. What you can do through the platforms is uh, educate, um, expose yourself, new products, engage. That's what a platform is, to engage to another, to talk with somebody I never know in my life, and to engage. And whatever he give you a like, why he give you a like? Because it's a nice picture, because it's an expensive product, or because he love your brand. You need to figure out that. And I think before I was thinking that way. Now, majority of the sales on my blend is driven to the platform. So why brands don't take that in that push to that? An ambassador and a cigar personality, you need to be very careful with that, because that's your image, that's your guy that you're putting in the front lines to expose your products. You need to be really knowledgeable about cigars and to attack. But the main thing for me is the end of the day is to educate and to try to push a sell, or uh, give that consumer to the proper channel where you can find the cigars. You know, for example, I'm not gonna name a brand, but X brand, and a guy like me, hey, thank you, thank you for following me, whatever. And that guy said, okay, I live in Connecticut, where I can find your cigars, right there. That's an engagement right there. Not because you have thousands and 10,000s on like, that's you're approaching anything, but now right there you're engaging. No, this is the shop you can go. Ask for somebody here, that name, anything you just call me. You know, that's an engagement. And I think that's the perfect scenario right now for the platform that to use, like in this case, Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, at least in my experience, forget that engagement part. You know, it's very one-sided. Like they set up a page, and then it's like we're just gonna post a picture, one picture a week. We think that's enough, and we're gonna get what we need out of it. And to me, it's like you can't talk to anybody through the page. You can't do anything. There's no engagement. So I think you're on the right path about what you said about it. That I wish more people in the cigar industry would understand that's what social media is about. It's social media. So it's
Right,
engaging,
right, right.
not just post. It's not posting media. It's you know that's something different.
And now I find out a big word, which is content. Uh, Man, you need content anyway. If you don't have content, why? I have the best content. Whatever. No, you need. I mean, it's a have to. You need to have great content. You need to have what is the purpose of a post. What is the channel you want to go to? Is it retail, consumers, branding? What you want to engage? What you trying to accomplish with a post? And that's exactly every time that I post something is something methodical. For one reason, I don't post nothing for nothing. Sometimes I spend maybe 3 or 4 days without posting anything. Every time that I post, it means something.
Yeah, I think that's good too. It's like you don't need to post every day. I know there's two different philosophies of social media. There's those people who say you need to post every day and, every so often, like 3 times a day and all this other stuff. And then, like you said, there's others where you just know, hey, I'm going to post something when I have something to post, and I'm going to get engagement from that because people are going to be looking for it still, and they're going to get just as much out of it.
True. Right now, because of the Culture Blend #3 is out, I post 3 or 4 times. I repost posts from other people, and I'm loving it. But it's gonna come to a point that's gonna mellow down, and I'm gonna continue, which is base for me.
Yeah, and it must be exciting though for you to go from, you work with these different brands, as a
Yeah.
broker selling them, and now you have that. But in addition to that, you have your own brand that you're now able to promote and talk about. And I always see all the pictures come up every so often about that you post that a new person's, holding your cigar, or they're helping you promote it by just saying, hey, I'm smoking it. Here's a picture of it. So that must feel really good for you to have gotten to this point where now you're one of these brands who have a following and people who are able to partake in the cigar culture in a completely different way through a product, not just through the online experience or in-store experience.
It's all blessings, man. I have, I having fun. And most important part, having fun. I respect what I do. I respect the cigar companies. I respect tobacco. It just I don't see the culture blend #3 to affect anything on my side. Everything's smooth, running smooth, and it's limited. When it's gone, it's gone. It's not gonna have like this portfolio to offer. This is I seen this an entertaining thing for us, for cigar lovers.
And I think that's good. I think I like the limited run idea, just because it encourages you to go ahead and jump in and get it while you can, and stock up if you like it. And then, if you want it to move on, you could move on without worrying about, because I think products usually have that arc where when they're new, it's like they skyrocket and you have no problem selling it or promoting it. But then after they've been out for so long, it's like, you're having to sit there and scratch your head and thinking, how can I make this feel new? And it's not new, and people want that new feeling. So that limited edition approach kind of works.
It's a great thing, man. Last weekend, I was in California for a business meeting, not selling anything, just a business meeting from one of the companies that I represent. And I walked to a shop, and the owner looked at me and said, "Man, you the guy, the new cigar?" I said, "What do you mean? I'm not from here." I said, "No, I know. Your cigar is everywhere." I said, "Yeah, thank you." I said, "Man, can you send me some?" I said, "Yeah, sure." That's a great feeling, man.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I know, when people are in your position and have a personality, you they know that you're associated with the cigar culture, brand and that account. You know, you probably don't think much of it. You probably just think you're just doing, like you said, you're just having fun. You're helping promote the lifestyle. But then you never know how other people see you and how they're impacted by you and in your work. So it's always interesting, just to hear people, you know, probably comment on like what impact you have on them. I know for me, sometimes I work in a vacuum, so I'm in this bubble world where I'm just focused on getting, stories done and getting interviews done, and and it's like I spend like weeks on certain stories, and then it gets out there, and I never think about it, and then maybe we have a trade show, and then everybody will say, "Oh, I love that story," and I'm like, "Wow!" Like that feels good. It makes me feel good about the 17 hours I spent, trying
I,
to put it together.
it's really cool, but I have gonna give you three stories with the same subject. When I started the Cigar Culture on Instagram, when we started, we do these giveaways and things like that. So my first giveaway, the winner, I sent the giveaway, and I know him by maybe in a few years. He just comment or post, whatever. Last week, he told me, "Man, I followed you from the beginning. I don't know if you remember me." I said, "Of course I remember you. You're the winner for the first giveaway." And he said, "Man, thank you. You really put me into good cigars and to see the cigar culture in a different way. That's the number one. The number two, when I was working in Nat Sherman, I met people from a lot of countries. This Asian guy, uh, we lost contact. I just sent him some cigars and bye. And now he contacted me. That I didn't know. And he contacted me through Instagram, DM me. He said, "Man, you remember me?" I said, "No." Refresh my memory. I said, "Man, you sold me cigars back in 2014 in Nat Sherman, on and on." I said, "Man, I sell cigars to a lot of people in Nat Sherman." And I said, "Man, thank you. I still isn't my. I bought like 20 cigars, and those 20 cigars I might still my lineup cigars because you recommended me." That's the second story, and the third one is a brand that I represent, approached me when they see the whole thing on this past 2 weeks, and they said, "Man, we want to so you can collaborate actually more not in sales but more into the marketing aspect," and that filled me with joy because I would love that. So that's exactly my driven in the three stories. I think is doing the right things most do, and keep your ethics. That's what you need to celebrate about the cigar culture.
With I know you talked about earlier about how you like to have these big groups of people where you used to teach, just have like a talking session or teach them about something about the culture. How are you adapting that model now to the world that we live in today, where where we can't all be gathered in stores or big groups and such like that? But I'm sure that you're probably, if you're like me, you're thinking, how can I adapt that now to the world that we live in, so you don't lose that traction and don't lose that connection to people.
Soon as the world change with this pandemic, I think our generation doesn't see something like it, and probably our parents' generation doesn't see something like it. I think I take advantage right away of the timing and start organizing all these Zoom meetings and lives, private sections of lives. And for me, during the stronger time of the pandemic, from March all the way to May, June, I did more than 48 lives, Zoom meetings with a lot of people. And I really catch the flow because I'm not a good in camera. I'm really shy. So you know, I really, but it gave me the opportunity to learn something that I don't know, that I know I can do it, and give me the ability to know more people as well through these lives.
Yeah,
So
I think I've
and I strongly recommend people to, man, you cannot get together, Zoom meetings or lives. Let's do it.
exactly. I think it's fun in a way, and like you said, it can be intimidating because I'm before this, I was used to being a kind of behind the scenes person that only came out for trade shows or events, and now here we are having, like I said, a conversation. But I found that having these conversations is helpful because um, you get to have great just learning sessions, learning from somebody else that you may not, at a trade show or an event, you may only get 10 minutes with a person. So having these little Zoom meetings and the Instagram lives where you can have 30 minutes to an hour or more with a person to really get nitty gritty about a topic, to me, it's been very useful and it's given me a completely different perspective on the industry. So one
Sure.
good thing has come out of COVID is it's been the ability to have these and to keep these going. And like I said,
For sure.
be able to learn something that I would never have had these conversations if we were just under normal circumstances. It wouldn't have come up.
One story about the first couple of lives that I did on Zoom and Instagram, I can remember, was that with people I can host 20, 40 people at the same time talking, doing these events with cigar person to person. But talking to a camera is really challenging, at least from my end. I'm not into the cameras, but give me the ability just to getting to know that this is the time that we're living right now that we need to get used to. And if you don't get used to, you get lost. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So what do you hope to do with the cigar culture going forward? Like, what's the evolution of that brand and that platform that you've built for yourself?
Back again. Keep doing it with a lot of love. Keep increasing the friends, the family that we've been creating. Um, Try to be an advocate of great cigars, great times, but most important, be an ambassador of great tobacco, making sure that everybody understands why they're buying ACY cigars, and giving giving the proper things so they can have a proper tools before they're spending their money.
And then what's your advice for everybody watching or listening to this, in playback mode? What's your advice to everybody about becoming a great ambassador for cigars? Like, what should we be doing to fulfill that? Um,
I think to being a great ambassador, you don't need to focus only in in one aspect. You need to focus on all the aspects. What's next? For example, now for the situation with the restriction with meeting a lot of gatherings, uh, you need to be proactive. You need to be what's next. Trips to Nicaragua or Dominican Republic. What's next? What is the rules now? Uh, so in terms of that, I think we need to be more proactive. We have to do it here first. We need to be more open because this thing is not gonna go away one day to another. And I think we need to accommodate ourselves to be great ambassadors now and support our brick and mortar shops, support our brands. No, no taking any sides. Right now, we have a great moment in the cigar industry, uh, but some restriction affecting brick and mortar, so we need to support it, and we need to support our local shops. So that's my next goal is to be focused on local shops, what we can do, what cannot do, to be able to accomplish and be in the same rhythm like before.
yeah, and I know for brick and mortars, what I found is um, even before the pandemic, some of the issues is that a lot of the brick and mortars in the tobacco industry, they don't have e-commerce stores or they don't participate in online sales. And even now that they've seen what COVID is, I don't think that they know how to get started in that. Or some of them think, oh, next year it'll be different. The turn of the year will be in a different place, and this will go away, and we'll go back to normal. I mean, what do you think? What do they
I,
need to do or think about going into 2021? Because I don't think it's going to go completely away anytime soon. I think this is kind of, everybody talks about the new normal. I think we're kind of living in the new normal. It's just a matter of accepting of what it is.
I think you dig it. Is the new normal plus a lot of restrictions, restrictions from capacity, restriction from high tax states. It's a lot of things, man. Right now happening. Right now, I don't know if you heard, but New York is 75% tax on tobacco products.
Yeah.
That's insane. Uh, you can look in California as well. Bigger taxes state. Some states is a really 10%, 15% capacity, and they only have four chairs. So nobody can be there. Just the owner. So it's really they need to be more proactive and overthink what's the next step for brick and mortars. What's the next step for brands to put ideas in the tables as well to trying to see lights in the tunnel and to be more as possible for the times. Yep.
Yeah. I think, what I found, and I don't know if you found this too, working with some manufacturers, is that there's some manufacturers that are really good with adapting to right now, and then there's others that are like, they know like digital is important, but they don't know how to use that. They're like, you
Right.
give me an idea, we'll go with it, and I'm like, no, like you give me an idea of what you need, and then we can work from there. It's like I can't pitch you an idea knowing what you're, going after.
I, it's like that is the industry that we picked that we're in. We are not the most what do you call that word?
Forward thinking sometimes.
Yeah, it's really basic. Just enjoy your cigar and sit down or buy your cigars, enjoy it. It's kind of like that way. So we need to be more proactive in terms of ideas for the future. And seriously, I think this is a really good task uh, to look at it. The COVID situation, the restriction of capacity, because I have places that are doing super good, but I have a lot of places that are doing not really good.
Hmm.
So I think, man, I'm forward to giving more help into the community to maybe we can vote together, giving some ideas and not the cigar industry is full of ideas, but to make it happen, to accomplish it. That's the big two separations from that. You know, we have a great ideas, but how are we gonna do it?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because
Yeah. How?
I just think I think, like I said, I think going into 2021, this is kind of what we're going to be dealing with. Like you said, going back and forth, and we need to figure out how to move forward, or what are some new innovative ideas to get people involved in brick and mortar while working with restrictions, while working with uh, supply chain issues, while working with
Sure.
shutdowns and so on. It just seems like that's life going forward for a while.
And as well, it's a big scenarios. I just heard that Nicaraguan Cigar Festival suspended. I
Yep.
believe I think Dominican as well. All the big festivals here, like you know the festivals here in the United States, cancel. So we need to take this really seriously in looking for into the business because can affect a lot of people. They really live into day-to-day basis because of cigars. So it's not a joke. It's happening. It's a great moment for cigars. A lot of people consuming cigars, but as well, it's a lot of problems getting cigars from Nicaragua and Dominican as well because the demand is too high. So it's a really cool situation, but not a cool situation because you need your product. So it's kind of like you need to figure out more, be more proactive.
Definitely. Well, since we're at the last few minutes of our interview time here, I just want you to tell us, what Instagram account we need to be following to keep up with what you're doing, and then, you know, how people can learn more about blend number three going forward, just so that I know that they're going to be interested in it. So just kind of do us a little, hype session of yourself right now.
Thank you. And thank you, Antoine, for inviting me with
Yeah.
this live. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you as well. Uh, Instagram at the Cigar Culture. That's my mainly ritual at the Cigar Culture. Cigar Culture. Um, Facebook as well is at the Cigar Culture. Um, if you find the cigars, if you live close by, send me a text so I can tell you exactly where you get it. Culture Blend number three, Habano 2000 wrapper, Binder Olor Dominicano. Five fillers. I have time for this. Criollo 98
5 minutes.
Dominican, Criollo 98 Nicaraguan, Piloto Cubano, San Vicente. So it's a great complex blend, medium to medium plush. Little. I don't like cigars really strength, so I take this for exactly for what it is. It's a great blend. It means a lot. It means a lot. I made this for the public. I made this for friends and family, and I consider all the followers friends and family, and the extended family on the media as well. So I made this just to enjoy as a great cigar, you know. And uh, I'm reachable. Please send me a DM if you want more information about it and where to get it. And thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, like I said, we have a little bit of a story coming out on you in the next issue of Tobacco Business. Well, not the next issue, but an upcoming issue of Tobacco Business. So people may see you there. And I know we're going to take snippets of that story and roll it over into Cigars and Leisure. So people will have two different stories to read about you and what you're doing. And I look forward to our next encounter, whenever that is, whatever event makes it makes it through the COVID situation. Like you just said, the Nicaraguan festival got canceled. I'm pretty sure Pro Cigar won't be moving forward as it is, so we'll have to see what event does go through.
Yeah. And a lot of festivals here in the U.S.
Yeah, no, the Tampa Festival got moved to March, so we're
The,
already
the
starting to see the 2021. Uh,
Colorado, the Cigar Fest, a lot of festivals got canceled.
yeah, so we're already starting to see the 2021 kind of domino effect as well. So we'll just have to see, but I'm sure we'll pass each other soon enough. Uh, and I look forward to whatever, like I said, whenever that encounter takes place. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, and I
My
look
pleasure,
forward
man.
to talking to you next time.
We'll be soon.
Awesome. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Antoine. You too. Thank you.
Thank you.